And welcome in to Off Air with Amy. I'm Amy Wood. Glad you are watching today as we have a number of big stories to get through, including the biggest 10 years since the Emanuel AME Church shooting. You may remember this absolutely devastated not only the community of Charleston, the state of South Carolina, but the entire country, because this was a crime of racial hatred. Now, let me take you back to what they've done this week. They've honored the memory of the 9 lives lost, the Emanuel 9. One of them, Sharonda Coleman Singleton, and I spoke with her son Chris about 10 years later.
So, if you're not familiar, 10 years ago, down in Charleston, South Carolina, at Mother Emanuel AME Church, there was a self proclaimed white supremacist that came to our church and took 9 beautiful souls during Bible study. One of those souls happened to be my mom, my hero, my biggest fan, Sharonda Coleman Singleton. And following the loss of my mom, I forgave my mother's killer, and I've been on a mission to be the opposite of this guy. Right, I played professional baseball, but outside of being an athlete, man, my whole goal of my life was to say I want to be the opposite. So that you wanted to spread division and hatred in this country. I want to spread love and unity in this country, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years.
And you've been doing that so many different ways. You've been doing that with speaking, you've been doing it with book writing, and you have another book out now. And those books have had really powerful messages. So why don't you talk about in general what you've tried to create in terms of your messaging and impact that you can have in the world? And then we'll talk about the new book.
Yeah, so when I'm speaking, it's not to change people's perspective or their opinion
Hmm.
based on what they like and what they don't like, right? So I always say there's a story behind every single stance. And so if somebody's like, "Hey, I'm a huge Braves fan," hey, you're not going to cheer for the Cubs, even though I was drafted by the Cubs. There's a reason. There's a story behind why you like the Braves, right? You grew up watching them. Your grandfather loved them, whatever it may be. My mission within this realm of unity is that we'll realize there's a story behind every single opinion. Even if we disagree, it's okay for us to agree to disagree respectfully. And so I've been sharing that across the country with businesses, with sports teams, and just sharing my heart and my message of unity. And children's books, it's been really cool because I've been to 43 of the 50 states sharing a message of love in our schools. And my new children's book is called Love Your Neighbor, that actually is just released just now. And in this book, it's pretty simple. We're teaching kids to love everyone. Everyone means everyone, no matter if they're in a wheelchair, no matter if they wear glasses, their skin is a little darker or lighter, their hair is a little looser or tighter, whatever it may be, we're teaching loving everyone.
If your mom could be here today, what do you think she'd be saying to you? I mean, she's got to be so proud of you.
Yeah, that's the goal. I feel like every kid, you want to make your mom proud from the day that you
Mm.
are able to go to the potty for the first time by yourself, to graduating and going on with your life. And so, even though my mom is not here in the flesh, my whole goal is, I have a hashtag that says hashtag can't let moms down. Because the
Mhm.
goal is to make my mom proud. And I want people to see me and say, man, this guy was raised the right way. His mom did a hell of a job. And
Mm.
hopefully people see that I'm genuine about this message of love.
How are people receiving it? I mean, how is it going when you go to a school? I mean, are there moments where you're like, "Wow, this is making an impact."
Yeah, I've got hundreds of messages from students, across the country. And it's stuff like, "Hey, Chris, man, thank you for sharing the fact that, nobody chooses how much money our parents do or don't have. Thank you, Chris, for talking about the fact that, yeah, I have ADHD, but we can celebrate whatever makes us different, right? Thanks, Chris, for talking about the loss of your mom because I lost my mom due to
Mm.
cancer or due to this or that. And so seeing you keep pushing forward means a lot to me and it made my day." So I've got tons of messages like that. And it lets me know, hey, it's not easy to talk about the tough things that have happened in my life, but seeing the reward of students saying, "Chris, you got me through this school year, or you got me through my parents' divorce, or you got me through the hard time that I had at home," like whatever it is, it keeps me
Mhm.
pushing forward.
We are dealing with another political hate-driven crime right now with 2 kids that have lost their parents in Minnesota. They're kind of walking, unfortunately, the path that you walked initially. What are your thoughts to them, and what do you think they are going through right now? This has got to be just awful.
Absolutely. Well, first I would say they have to take time for themselves to grieve. And I know there's going to be a million cameras in their face. I know there's going to be a million questions asked to them. as they get older. But for me, if I can go back in time, I would have gave myself more of a space to just let out those tears, let
Mm,
out that emotion, because it feels like everything is on your shoulders, and that's no place for a young person to be. And my advice to them is, obviously, we want to make your parents proud, but give yourself time to grieve. And to anybody that sees something like this happening and wants to ask questions about this or questions about that, I think that's dead wrong. When something is terrible has happened, we can lock arms and say that wrong is wrong, right? And I
wrong
feel
is
like that
wrong. Yeah.
happened in Charleston. People didn't
Yep.
question this or question that. We said, hey, that's hatred, and that should not be allowed. And I think anybody in this country um, that has lost somebody that they love, especially a parent, you should be grieving just like those two are.
Absolutely. When you think about the climb up from a very low place, what do you think sustained you? I mean, you obviously are a man of faith.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I will say there's faith and then there's like practical faith, right? I feel like
Okay.
my faith grounds me in who I am, but practically I say, you know what? I can't control what happens to me,
Hmm.
right? In the good book, it says that God will never leave us nor forsake us. And so even in these really rough moments, I believe I'm not by myself. And so if
Hmm.
I'm not by myself, sometimes I have to lean on something that's a lot stronger than I am. And practically every single day, I've realized, hey, I don't control sometimes what happens to me, but I can always control my response to those
Mm.
things. And those responses will make up the majority of our lives. And so this mindset has helped me out tremendously.
Yeah, that's a powerful mindset and one we can all learn from and be inspired by. When you think about your mom and what you want people to take away from her life and her devotion to faith and so many other things, right? I mean, she was doing so many things. What do you want people to remember about her forever?
I want people to remember that she loved her family. She loved the kids that she got to coach at Goose Creek High School, being a
Yeah.
track coach. She was just fully bought into the fact that the future is a place full of hope
Mm,
for her kids. And now she's got grandkids, right? And so her grandkids.
yeah.
And so I want people to think about my mom as a beautiful light in this world. And I believe truly that there's a lot more light than there is darkness. And so we see these little dark pockets here and there. And we need to be reminded of people like my mom that are full of joy, full of hope, and full of love. And that's the love that I'm trying to spread just as well.
And you've had a new piece of news in your life. You are doing sort of a sometimes in Brazil, sometimes in the USA experience, and your whole family's experiencing this. Talk a little bit about the motivation for that.
Yeah, so my wife is from Brazil, right? She moved over here when she was really, really young. I think she was 2 or 3 years old when
Oh,
she moved to the
wow.
States. And we're high school sweethearts. And we went back to
Oh.
Brazil just to visit for a month. And my wife was like, "Hey, what if we just moved here?" And I'm like, "Listen, I love where I live. I love our country. I love my city of Charleston, like that wrapped their arms around me." I'm like, "Hey, I don't want to leave there. First of all, my
Mhm.
Portuguese isn't even that great." And so I was like, "No, that's too much." And then we started talking about it, and I experienced how my kids play with their cousins, and they're playing soccer together, they're on bikes together, trying to pop wheelies together, all these different things that they're having fun with all the family that we have over there
Mhm.
on my wife's side. And I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Why don't we stay for 3 or 4 months? I'll be back and forth, speaking here at
Sure.
schools and to companies in the states, but back and forth from Charleston in Brazil sounds like a pretty good gig to have while our kids are young, while we can do it, right? So we're
And
giving
you're
it a shot.
yeah, you're exploring a whole nother culture too, right? I mean, and they're learning language. I mean, it's just what a great eye-opening experience for them.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like it definitely puts things into perspective.
Mhm.
There's it's Brazil's a beautiful place. I am a little biased though that thinks that it's much better here in America. But I
Yeah.
do love Brazil. I love the family, how everything's so much family oriented. You hang out together, you eat steak together, right? You guys drink
That's
coffee
great.
together in the morning. So it's very family oriented, and that's something that I cherish and I miss with my mom and dad being gone.
Oh, yeah, I know you do. All right, let's talk about the book. If people want to get the book, where do they go? How do they get it? I know that some people may want to donate them to the local school libraries. What do they do?
Yeah, so if you go to chrissingleton.com, I've got like a shop tab there. And so every single book that's purchased on my personal website is getting signed by me. They're on
Oh,
Amazon, they're in certain local bookstores, within South Carolina, smaller bookstores. But I feel like if people go to my website, they'll get a signed copy directly from
That's
me
great.
and my team.
All right. Well, we wish you the very best of luck. It is so kind of you to take some time to talk to us. And Chris, you're an amazing, amazing guy.
Thank you so much.
All right, we want to thank Chris so much for taking that time to talk to us because he literally took time the day before he was headed into the 10th anniversary of his mom's death. And it was a very emotional day. The ceremony was held at a Mother Emanuel Church, and he was there speaking in that congregation, leading people with a message of hope and unity. And he's just an amazing young man, one of the top speakers in the nation under 30. So he's in high demand to speak all over the country. And I think you can understand why, having listened to him. We thank him for his time so much. Now to the things we cannot miss on Off Air with Amy. And we've got plenty to focus in on today because let me tell you, there are a bunch of stories on WSPA.com. I'm going to pull them up here. Let me get my screen set up so you guys can see what is happening. So take a look. We've got can't miss content on WSPA.com. And this is the stuff you are going to want to pay attention to this weekend or anytime you have some extra time to pull up the website. First of all, that's the homepage, but let me get you to the situation with Iran. It is developing. It may change by the time this reaches you, but anytime you're interested in the larger picture of how close Iran is to a nuclear bomb as this situation escalates, there's stories on WSPA.com, plus, of course, the latest developments about what's happening between Israel and Iran and whether or not the U.S. gets involved. We've also got this terrible situation on I-40. Once again, I-40 is shut down, you guys. It is in trouble. They had big rains hit 2 inches plus, and it just created mudslides and flooding again. So the entire interstate shut down again. You're going to have to go winding up through North Carolina to get to Tennessee for a while. So, or you can go through Atlanta, I guess, and go up that way too. But stay with us. We'll keep you up to date on the website as soon as they get developments. But today there's no timeline when I'm recording this, no timeline for how long it's going to take to repair I-40 in Western North Carolina and Tennessee, right there where the whole thing fell apart in Helene. Now we've got the Spartanburg Parks opening up a massive new place. This is a place where you can experience nature. There are trails. Look at the people walking through the trails. It's the Glendale Nature Park, just opened. So it's fresh, beautiful trails for running, for biking, walking, whatever you like to do. Just getting out there and getting in the trees and being away from your phone and all the other things that distract you. But anyway, that's on WSPA.com. All the details, how to get there. It's free, obviously. It's a park. So enjoy that. And they do plan on eventually paving some of those trails. But right now, it's just a walk through the woods, which is great. When we come back, we've got something good on the way. We've got a big change for the Wade's chain. They're making a big move. And what you guys are saying on the streets. Welcome back into Something Good. I'm so glad you're with us today. Amy Wood here as we continue on with Off Air with Amy. And did you hear about it? We told you about it on the news. Wade's is making a big move. They are opening Wade's Jr. That's happening in early 2026. They just made the announcement. So I'm pulling in the man with the plan to tell us what's going on. Hamp Lindsey, you are taking your restaurant to the other side of town. What is happening with Wade's?
You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but in 1996, 29 years ago, we bought property on the west side of town. Carol and I had plans to do this. At about that time, I think the restaurant we're in just started exploding, and we grew to about 3 or 4 restaurants inside the 4 walls that we're in, and we just never did it. And we think the time is right now.
And why? What is giving you that urge? Is it also the fact that you won that James Beard Award in 2024? I mean, that was a big boost to the Wade's brand, wasn't it?
It really was, but really, I think the time is right because a lot's happened since 1996. Our concept, our systems, everything has matured. Probably mostly our team, my son and daughter, are back in the business. They're the youth behind this. We have a gentleman, Joey Basso, who is our COO. He came on board in 2019, 18 or 19. And when we brought him on board, we had this in our sights. And, that's now 6 years ago, I guess.
Hmm.
And about a year and a half ago, I guess it was a year or so ago, Speech Property came in our site. And, I told Ann, I said, we've had this on our mind. I said, even if this doesn't work out, we hadn't purchased the property or anything. Even if it doesn't work out, we're going to be ready. So we said it about, getting a building planned. We're going to build a building. And
Yep.
So here we are with the announcement yesterday, and it's real exciting.
It is so exciting. So talk a little bit about where you're going, where this land is. It's going to be on the west side of Spartanburg, of course, which is a growing, booming area. And it's a little closer to Greenville. So if the Greenville folks want to get in on this, they can finally maybe have an easier chance at it. So talk about where you're going.
Well, it's the actual physical address for us is going to be 3008 Reeville Road, and it is 1.3 miles from I-26 going toward Duncan.
Okay.
And the market we're trying to hit, with what we're doing, which is comfort food, take it out the door, take it home and eat it, get a quick meal. We want a lot of rooftops. We want to be easily accessible. And, the busiest corridor might be over at Blackstock Road and Highway 29, but we almost think there's too much congestion there. We really like this. I've always said that if I opened a restaurant on the west side of town, I wanted to be on the other side of I-26. I have, in my life, have experienced cannibalization. We opened at one point in time, we had the original location on South Pine, and in 1985 opened Pinewood. And we literally found out what it was like for customers to say, well, I'll eat at one restaurant, for lunch and eat at one for supper, because they were so close together. Now, lots changed. We got a lot bigger. Our customer base is bigger. But I've always felt like I want to be on the other side of 26. So this met a lot of the things that we felt we wanted if we did something. We wanted to be in Spartanburg because we don't want to go that far. We want the next location that we do to be something that we are close to and can be there. And we didn't Greenville to start out, although a lot of people have asked us to do so. So, and I do think, our name recognition with the fortunate James Beard Award that we got last year, I think it's just a good time. It's the right time.
All right, now I have a deeper, longer focused question, because I have friends in Greenville who are like, please come to Greenville. Are you guys thinking about it at all?
We wouldn't say right now that that's in the plans, but what is in the plans is for us to test this concept, and it is being designed from the ground up to be something that, if it's received well, that it could be duplicated. I mean, that's part of the deal is for the kids, and so we've taken that approach, and who knows. So, we told people back in 1996 that we were going to open another restaurant, and here we are 29 years later, and it's finally happening. But
it's okay. You're allowed to change your mind. It's okay.
That's right. And so, we think that somewhere down the line, we might take it to another location.
Cool. They would love to hear that over here. All right, let's talk a little bit about, first of all, when you guys get in the news, do people start like showing up at the restaurant and ordering food? Because as soon as you were on the news last night, I said, we're ordering Wade's tonight, and I ordered food from you guys. I mean, yeah. I feel like you get in our brains and we can't say no to that Southern comfort food.
Well, thank you. There has been a lot of excitement over the last 2 or 3 days, and we always see an uptick whenever there's media attention like this. But you've been around Wade's to know that that line is there pretty much every
day. For people who've never ventured over to try Wade's, what if you were walking in the first time? What would be the quintessential order they'd have to get?
I'm going to give them 2 things, fried chicken or turkey and dressing. Turkey and dressing is, I guess, our signature item. Our dressing, stuffing, whatever you might call it in another area, is homemade there. And it's got a cult following. We'll serve 700-800 orders of that every day. Wow. And fried chicken is another just Southern staple that we've been doing for a long time. So I guess one of those, but there's so many items,
Good
and they're
things,
all
yeah.
homemade. And that's something to say about this next location. We've been asked this question. It is going to have a full kitchen. We're not producing the food in one place and carting it
And
over to
bringing
the
it.
location. It is going to have a full kitchen where we'll be bringing things up from scratch every day, right there on that location. So, but I would say turkey and dressing. Our number one, we like to say vegetable, is macaroni and cheese. You know how that is? It Wade's everything's a vegetable, whether
Yes, everything.
and so
The sweet potato souffle. Ooh, so good.
Yep, it is. And it's homemade.
Yeah, and these are all family recipes. I mean, you guys opened in 1947. Are they the same recipes that you've just been doing year after year after year?
Yes, and there are some that along the way that Carolyn, they've all come from either my mother,
Mm-hmm.
possibly a staff member that came on board. We've had people come on board that have brought something to us, but for years and years and years, Carol and I were always the final say in what was going to go on the menu. But yes, so many of the recipes, of course, going back to the homemade yeast roll, what a lot of people may or may not know about this product is we make it every day, but we don't even use a mixer. It is made in a bowl as big as this desk I'm sitting at.
Wow.
It's done by hand, and it's hand cut out and baked. So, you're going to get turkey and dressing, macaroni and cheese, maybe green beans, and Wade yeast roll, and sweet tea.
And when it comes to Southern food, it's not just about the food, right? I mean, it's also about like the heart that's put into it, the caring staff you guys have. I mean, explain to people the vibe you guys create that keeps people coming back.
Consistency. That is, for us, it is consistency. And if you were in our dining room right now, the wait staff that's in the dining room, those girls have been there 20, 15, 17, 20 years. I'm thinking of them right now. I won't mention any because if I say one, I'll miss somebody's name.
Mess it up. Yeah.
But, they've been with us so long. We have a culture at Wade's, and we've been working on it. And it's something that I think we are proud of because it is missing. A lot of places have it, but it's missing out there is just good service. And good service doesn't have to be anything special, but it is saying thank you and smiling and, keeping your tea glass filled without you having to ask, and not having your server on their cell phone while they're over there and you need something. I mean, we really work hard to deliver not just a good quality product, but to give the service that people deserve. So.
Well, we are so excited for you taking the classic and bringing it on into the future and maybe even spreading beyond Spartanburg someday. Who knows?
Right.
We appreciate it, Hamp.
I do want to say is everybody, Wade's at Pinewood is not going anywhere. So, it is going to be there and operating just like it always has. So
the OG Wades.
That's right. It's going to be there. Okay.
Yeah. The lines will continue. Don't worry.
We hope so.
Yes. All right. So nice of Hamp Lindsey to spend some time sharing his something good with us. And now I want to get to your something good. Let's go see what you guys have to say.
Tomorrow we go back to Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he go to Mexico.
Oh, nice.
He's from Germany, yeah.
But these are your friends? You have out-of-town friends visiting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Came in from Illinois to visit us. So,
Nice. And you guys like it? The visitors? Yeah? It's pretty cool.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
And just the park is
So pretty.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Cool. Well, I hope you guys have a great time. Enjoy. All right, so tell me something good.
I have a lot of good stuff. I just got a new car. I have 4 kids. Been married 16 years, and this is my best friend.
Oh. And how about you?
I'm just in school, working real hard at it, in Greenville Tech in the RAD program,
Good for
radiology.
you. Oh my goodness.
So that's good. I made it to the 3rd semester.
Amen.
Yeah, that's the
Every
only thing else
semester.
I've been putting every minute into that.
Good for
so.
you. That is something really good.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Fifth-time grandmother today.
Wow. Today, the baby was born.
That
Oh
was
my
born at
goodness.
a little bit after 4 o'clock this morning.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
What have we named him?
Bennett Ivan.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I haven't got to see him yet. I'm getting over a cold.
Yes, you want to avoid
So I'm
that.
going to have to wait a few days before I...
But then grandma's on the move.
Oh, yeah.
And you've done this before. That's
Yeah.
5.
5 boys, all grandsons.
Wow. Any great grandparent advice for everybody out there?
Just enjoy them.
Yeah.
Enjoy them while they're little.
So appreciate Hamp Lindsey joining us, sharing his something good, and hearing from you guys today on your something good. This is a lot of fun. I love to dig into the stories that are interesting and that we all want to know a little bit more about. I'll see you next week with another fresh episode of Off Air with Amy. There's something comforting about experience. It prepares you, makes you wiser, ready for anything. That's why 3 decades later, I still love to keep you informed. Your trust is everything.
Watch Amy Wood on 7 News. Weekdays at 4, 5, and 6 p.m.
We want to get to that immediately.